Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are live on the Lonely Tardis, your weekly journey into the wonderful world of Doctor Who, led by three chummy companions here to tell their stories about being locked in a blue box together, hoping to escape one day as it flies through space, usually with an attractive alien or two. I'm one of your hosts, Dolly Demowski. Joining me to my left and your right, Marcus Beer. And the lovely young man below us, the one, the only, the man who sits in front of very nice looking posters there, Sean Norton.
Hello.
It's a beautiful wall.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Sean said on the last episode that I did not go into radio voice, so I've decided this episode it's
You
radio
have
voice.
really compensated hard for the voice there. Yeah.
Yes.
I also like that
definitely.
you change up the intro every time we do this.
Yeah, I try. It's
That's
mostly because I
cool,
forget.
man. Yeah. You
I
change
forget.
as much as Shooty changes his costumes every week.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Great point.
We can't have
Shooty,
an
you mean the
iconic costume,
doctor?
apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no iconic costume, and they
Did you
finally
see that,
discussed...
by the way? Did you see Russell T Davies was out there and he's just like, yeah, I want to be way more inclusive for people who want to cosplay as a doctor. And then, we're not going to have just one outfit. We're going to have all these different outfits. And then people can dress whichever ones they want to do instead of having like a really expensive hobby. Everybody's like,
we don't really like that.
It doesn't work. I mean, it's ridiculous. Russell's just crawled up his own ass.
Yeah.
Christ, Russell, get out of that ass, you stupid Welsh goit.
Oh. That's coming from a fellow Welshman.
Yeah.
Who was madly in love with
I'm
with
in love
Russell.
I mean, he's basically getting high on his own supply.
Yes. We're talking about Doctor Who today with today's episode, this week's episode, The Well. Doctor and Belinda trying to get out of 1952, realizing they can't really get out, land on an unknown planet that's like 500,000 years in the future, where some troopers have just been, everybody's died on this planet for some reason. It's gone silent. As they do their search, they come to discover that there's only one person alive, and look out, she has some type of entity directly behind her at midnight.
There's something on your back.
The clock. There's something on your back. Don't turn around. They come to find out that it is the planet Midnight. 500,000 years in the future, something has happened, and chaos ensues.
Such a great reveal.
Mind all the diamonds. All the diamonds
Yeah.
are gone. Even this. I mean, it's actually, this one is actually a very interesting allegory of destroying the resources or stripping somewhere of its resources can do to a planet.
Mm-hmm.
Can make it evil.
What were they doing? They were going deep for carbon, right? Because all the diamond over the thousands and thousands of years was gone. There had been wars there. There had been all kinds of stuff. Oh, it was such a cool reveal.
It was excellent. It really was.
Yeah.
It was a very short review. Gentlemen,
right.
I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first. Good show is great. I'm just going to start by saying absolute cinema. To quote Martin Scorsese, absolute cinema. My favorite episode in a long, my favorite Shooty. I think favorite since the Capaldi era. I loved this episode, especially the tie back into Midnight, which I ended up rewatching after this episode. And I loved it. But I'm going to let you guys talk because I took over the beginning of last episode, which was recorded a long time ago. Chance, what did you think? What'd you think? Marcus, I want you to go first because you waited patiently the last time.
And he's waited like 2 seasons for an episode like this. 4 seasons.
Maybe. I don't know. Has he? He's been awfully quiet.
We had specials, and the specials were great.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
They were pretty spectacular across the board. They were so well executed. They were absolutely the best that we've had in a long time. But this is absolutely far and away the best Shooty episode, which is obviously not saying much, but I mean, it really is. This is one that could stand against some of the other better ones. The only the the only thing I can get near to it was the Shooty standing on a mine episode from last season.
Yeah, that's
where that one had the Stephen Moffat one, where that had a lot of suspense and everything. But this one, it had it all, and just having that moment before the plot reveal, where it clicked in my head, and I'm sure it clicked in your heads too, as soon as they said it was surrounded by diamonds.
Yeah.
And that was like that's the best type of callback, where it's like, I figured it out 10 seconds before they on.
And it makes us feel real smart, right?
Exactly, we're so smart.
Yeah.
The great thing about this is that this one is that Russell T Davies did a callback to an episode from the 21st century.
Yeah.
As opposed to Dudek, who is, let's face it, your granddad's Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I know, because I'm old enough to be somebody's grandpa. So I thought it was great. I thought the cast were great. I mean, honestly, when the thing behind her threw that soldier for the first time, scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
When it did the first time when Shuki looked, and it did the whole. Actually, it wasn't Shuki, was it? It was Belinda. She looked and she saw something, and the noise that came with it, the little audio cue, that was a jump scare. And those have been few and far between in the last couple of seasons of Doctor Who. I mean, the jumping has normally been, because we're running to the bathroom to throw up. But no, I thought it was great. I thought everything was on point. It felt not as claustrophobic as Midnight, because that was obviously in a much more enclosed space. But I thought they played with the extra space a little bit more, and that when they were running away from it in the end, the extra space added to the tension, because it's not just out the door and it's gone. I thought it was excellent across the board. It was very strange that it didn't have the same powers that it had.
Yeah,
as if it was learning to be, and then went back into hibernation, or didn't have the things to feed on, like an emotional vampire, if you will, to learn from, as we saw in the original Midnight. But
I mean, the original Midnight was sort of this resort planet, right?
Yeah.
With sapphire waterfalls and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
he went on like a bus tour. Yeah.
He went on that bus tour, which was just fantastic. You could tell, like you kind of said, Marcus, it got to the point where people started to, strip carbon mines, diamond mines. Like it went from being a resort planet to being highly valued for its resources. And then there were wars, and then the wars begat evil, and the environment collapsed. And it's the interesting idea is that Midnight was 500,000 years earlier, a planet about excess, right? We see the episode opens with Donna in the resort, getting her essentially laying in a spa, right? This is a planet just for having fun, and it's very stark contrast to what it ends up being down the line. So I thought that was a really interesting take on the downfall of just overzealous excess and desire. Cool.
I will say, initially, before we actually got to that kind of reveal, where they were talking about they drilled down and something came up, I was reminded of the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
Oh, yeah. I thought about that first too. Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, oh, hang on, what's going on here? But it wasn't next to a black hole or a supernova or whatever it was. And we saw that one burn up. But there was enough there to call back to, ironically, some of Tennant's best episodes.
Yeah.
That's why it felt like one of the reasons it felt like a really good episode of Who, because it called back. It wasn't too random. It wasn't preachy. I mean, it had the fact that the main character, apart from the Doctor, is a deaf character.
Yeah.
And so we had Shooty had to learn British Sign Language for that episode. And then there was obviously, they had the great plot device of the little cue cards that would pop up, which I think is a great thing.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Everything just felt right. And I got to say, I don't think I've ever seen a doctor in such a skin-tight suit. I mean, I could see his little blue box.
Whoa.
I must have missed that.
Wobbly and his timey-wimey were on display for all to see, and good luck to you, Judy. Well done.
I gotta say, I don't know how to follow that, so I'm gonna pivot. I really want to take a second before I dive into any of the you guys touched on a lot of brilliant stuff, and I mean, I feel like we could spend a long time just dissecting this episode and its themes and everything, but at a really, really high level, I really appreciate the fact that when we talk about our best episodes, our favorite episodes, whatever, Blink is always in the conversation. Midnight is always in the conversation, among some others. And so to be able to make an episode like this that we are all raving about, that feels like a good sequel, that doesn't, for lack of a proper term, shit the bed, and that can be a follow-up to Tennant specifically, who everybody treats, rightfully so, as God's gift to Doctor Who, is no small feat. And so we've done a lot of criticizing of Ncuti and the crying and the writing of Russell T Davies and his head up his own butt or whatever Welsh words Marcus uses. But credit where it's due. They really, really nailed this. And I don't know if it was always a Midnight sequel. I know Russell T Davies rewrites a ton of scripts and a ton of people's scripts. But man, they made it work, and they made it work well. And none of us are here debating quality. From everything I'm seeing online, everybody raving about the episode, it's debating the creature and how did it do that? And what is it? And why is it doing things differently now? And did it get out? And what happens next? And did Tennant this? And did it know the doctor's name or just that he's the doctor? Like, that's awesome. That's awesome that we can sit here and get back to doing what we love, which is trying to break down the writing and the mysteries and the sort of subtleties and everything else instead of like, man, it was just okay, or man, I can't believe they even tried to make a sequel to that. How could you even think about? Because there is very much an alternate universe to us right now that is just like, why in the world would you go back to Midnight? Midnight is untouchable. It's a classic. And we're not there. Like this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Who? And I'll say it after last week and now, 2 for 2 bangers.
Well, that wasn't a banger. It was a banger.
It is a banger for this.
It was a banger.
I mean, in comparison to perhaps some of the dross, yes, it was a banger. But I mean,
by the standards of this series, absolutely banger.
But I mean, Lux was robot toilet, Lux, the well. I mean, it's double every week, which means we'll basically have our minds blown by the end of
maybe, the trajectory.
But
God, please!
I'm reading about the origin of the script, and it was Russell T Davies and Sharma Angel Walfeld, and she actually brought a script. I mean, she'd worked with Jane Tranter on another Bad Wolf production, and she had a script that Russell T Davies read that was a supernatural horror type drama, which she used as the basis for the tone of the story. And I think we've said this before. When Russell's left to run wild, he gets a little bit crazy. But when he's working with others to help tighten, because I mean, we know he respects other writers. We know he respects a lot of people he works with, all the people he works with. So when he's tightening up these sort of things, you do have an episode. I mean, there's a reason that this has got an aggregate of 91% on Rotten Tomatoes or tomatoes.
I like your version. This sounds proper.
Well, it is proper. That's because they pronounce tomatoes, not tomatoes. Anyway,
you didn't have to ruin it.
But yeah, I think it just goes to show that with a little restraint, less is more.
Yeah.
I mean, Lux, I was terrified after the robot planet or the robot world, and then there was restraint there with Mr. Dingley Dongly Dangly.
Yeah. Ringly dingly dongly dangly.
Yeah, but I mean, and now there's even more restraint. And
Sure.
when you restrain yourselves like that, I mean, I like to. I've mentioned this before. It's called, for me, it's the Taika Waititi syndrome, where you've got Thor Ragnarok, where it's his first Marvel movie. He's obviously got under somewhat of a tight rein. They're keeping an eye on it. Boom. And then they let him go a little bit bananas, and you end up with Love and Thunder, which is a monumental turd.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing with Russell. He needs somebody to sort of like just focus him, help him bounce ideas off. So yeah, I thought the writing was super tight. This is one where a tear being shed actually made sense, but it became totally moot and relevant because, you know, we've seen it happen. But the jump scares were there. The aha moment was there, which is always exciting.
Yeah.
You know, we had a couple of really good performances from various people. I think I don't think Russell T Davies likes women much because he's been killing them off a lot. He makes them the bad guys or girls, and then he kills them off. So yes, but yeah, that whole thing where, you know, the soldier was he was panicking, and this was the guy with such an attitude. He was panicking, and as he was rolling, the woman was turning each time. Lisa, whatever her name is. Sorry, what was her name?
Alice.
Sorry, Alice with 4 S's.
Somehow.
Alice Slytherin. Anyway, but every time she turned, somebody else out. And that was brilliant because you were just like, "Stop, you stupid fuck knuckle!"
Ooh, fuck knuckle! I like that.
I'm taking charge under, you know, the Red Order number 46 of the Shadow Proclamation or whatever the hell he said. I was like, "Oh God, we've all met that cocky little twat, haven't we?" The minute the pressure was on him, he crumbled, and he was directly responsible for the death of at least 4 people.
Yes,
and I thought that was brilliant because it made. You could see it coming, and you were like, when is it going to stop? And it made every single death mean something. It was visceral. Didn't have to be bloody, but to see these soldiers thrown through glass, thrown into the air. I mean, that's
violent.
Yeah. I mean, there was a violence to it, a kinetic violence that I thought was absolutely spot on. So, I mean, I got to say, cinematography, stunt work, they don't get a shout out in Doctor Who, especially the stunt actors. And I thought it was really, really good. And
no, it's terrific. It was part Alien. I think there were the movie Alien. There were with some of the terror, like being chased through hallways. There was definitely like going back to that horror aspect for me was so refreshing in a way with Doctor Who because we hadn't seen Ncuti. I don't recall there being, you know, the chased horror type of episode in a while. Maybe because I blanked out on the whole first season.
They tried it where he was, you know, frozen with fear in the musical episode from last season.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah.
But it just felt flat. But this time, it was palpable, and it was 2 really good performances from Ncuti.
Yeah.
I mean, he still has a ways to go. I mean, there are 5 episodes left in the season that could actually build to his swan song being quite excellent.
There were,
Go on.
He did great. He did really great this episode. I think the acting top to bottom was great, especially the end where, you know, she sacrifices herself, believing that
for no reason, apparently.
For no reason, because we saw
it just layers on the classic horror. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Dolly. So good.
Trope.
And I didn't even fully process that until the end because it's just bam, bam, bam. Yeah. And then you get the ending, and we don't know. Maybe she's seeing things. Maybe the thing got out. And I didn't even process till afterwards that, like, oh, that sacrifice was for nothing, and it just never relented. Once this, like, it did such a great job of previous Who episodes we've done similarly, where it spends maybe the first third or 40% building the dread.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next 40 to 45% fucking goes. It goes and it doesn't stop. The doctor realizes what's going on. All hell breaks loose. People die. Bodies are flying. Soldiers are cracking under pressure. Then they're trying to run away and figure it out. Then they think they've solved it. And then we get the big climax and sacrificial ending. And then everybody kind of goes on their way. And then we get the sort of epilogue of like, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. And it was just so well done. Did the doctor miss it? Or are these people just paranoid? I don't know. Well, and that's great. That's great. I don't know. And that's the kind of don't know I like. And it leaves the door open for somebody in 5, 10, 40 years to come back and do another 400,000 years and where the creature is next. It's like, it's just so good. It's just so good.
And the fact that nobody knew where Earth was or what Earth people were.
Yeah.
Taps back in the first episode where Earth is destroyed. So again, that's something that's going to come back. The Mrs. Flood cameo. Yeah. Again, this one made it a little bit more interesting because is she collecting bad guys? I mean, she turns up every time after something's been defeated, and it reminds me of the end of the Giggle episode where we saw the Master in the gold tooth being pulled away, and because it was all collected by the toy maker. So there's a lot of things going on here, but it was very interesting to be able to postulate about this stuff after the fact and think a lot more about it, which is what Good Who should be about. And I mean, I'm looking at. You look at they've announced that the obviously the last 2 episodes they're actually going to show the very last 2 back to back in the cinemas in the UK. I don't think they'll do it here.
Okay. Yeah, they haven't done it in the US and ages.
But the fact that one is called Wish World and the last one's called The Reality War. So there's got to be something going on. I mean, let's face it. And what was the last time Russell T Davies did anything with reality? And that was the time of the Dr. Donna and Reality Bomb with Davros and the Daleks. So I mean, there's lots of when he does this well, he gets us thinking to where the other connections are. So I mean, it does point to that this, this is going to be all a dream, and Shooty didn't really exist. It was just another version of the Doctor, and they're going to go full Dallas, and Bobby Ewing's going to be in the shower. And it was all a dream. Now, do you understand that? But again, I just don't want it to set us up for a fall.
I know.
As I said in the last episode, I mean, I'm just taking Doctor Who as it comes now, but an episode like this drops and you bastard. You pulled me back in.
You don't want to get Legend of Ruby Sunday. That's what we don't want.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
I mean, and then look, I mean, talking of, Ruby Sunday, she's back next week and she's got a boyfriend. But again, I felt the same way when I saw Lux, the trailer for Lux. So who knows? I'm looking at the next couple of titles. Lucky Day, which is obviously the Ruby Monday one. The Story in the Engine, which could tap into, again, this alternate reality. What's creating the story? Is this going to be a tap back, or is it going to be is it a season-long Big Bad episode, or is it a standalone? And then we've got the Interstellar Song Contest, which feels so gimmicky. So gimmicky. I just don't think it's. I mean, it might be wrong, but I don't think it's going to make sense for a lot of Americans or people who don't have, who are very lucky and don't have the fucking Eurovision Song Contest.
Listen,
it's tough to say. I felt
so bad. It's good.
I worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know if that's going to. The FA Cup finals that day, so between that and the song contest,
it's gonna be a very busy day.
It feels gimmicky. I mean, it would be just as gimmicky, whereas the Doctor wins the Cup final episode.
I don't know. I thought this Cuphead Lux episode was going to be gimmicky, and I thought it turned out really good.
I did too. I did too. I mean, if it had been Cuphead, on Xbox, that would have been really, really
good. Would that be something?
Mrs. Flood was back in this episode.
She's
again.
hunting. Whatever
she's
word we want to
hunting.
use, we can use.
And
a
she
better
knew
word.
right away that he
But,
had
man,
his
she's
tool with
following
him, right?
Everywhere. Yeah. What is he? He's hunting for. They're trying to triangulate.
Yeah. Triangulate back to her.
Or
Yeah,
vagrancies or
like
whatever.
That,
yeah, dude. She is traveling through time. I don't know how. I don't know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
as
not
long
good.
as Flood doesn't turn out to be an anagram of fucking dooful or something.
Doofus.
I mean, that whole from last season where we had, this the anagram of
it's FL Ood. FL Ood.
Yeah, she's gonna peel off her mask and pull up her light ball, and she's gonna be
actually
old foe.
Old
foe.
Yeah,
Blood is old
foe. Like, oh, look, if we take this anagram and then we take some letters away and we add some letters, oh my god, it means Sutek, as opposed to take some letters away and add some other words. It'll be fucking hell, Russell T. Davies, behave.
You know what it really is? It's actually just a way longer or way shorter way of saying the flux. Flux.
See.
And then I'm gonna
if this actually retcons us back to fucking Capaldi. I actually
your lips to God's ears, man. I doubt it.
I really want. I mean, again, and it's the two doctors involved.
I just ran her name through a anagram generator, and is it Mrs. Flood or Ms. Flood?
Mrs. Flood.
Mrs. Flood. We have let's see, Dr. Folsom. I don't know if Dr. Folsom is a character, but there isn't much else in there, unfortunately. Flo Ramsad. So there you go.
Well, if you rearrange the letters, add some, take some away, you end up with Ronnie.
Add a few, take a few. But there were a lot of fun little details.
This is the straw. What am I doing? What am I doing with this straw? Am I grasping at it? Am I grasping at it?
Yeah, we're definitely yeah.
Clever.
And the dog the dog hears you and is
even got my dog going on that one.
Yeah. Oh, but I think just a great solid episode. We needed one of these that were invigorating, that had action, had suspense, had the idea of Alice being this deaf person. She couldn't hear the whispers. That's how she survived. The midnight, the callback, the 12. It's just so good. I loved it. And again, it got me rewatching older episodes. Whenever you could do that, I think it's a good thing. But older, modern episodes. Whenever you could do that, I think it's a good thing because it gives fans, modern fans, that's kind of the main, the main folks are the people who are the Ninth Doctor onward, I guess you could say, is what this season has been focusing on. So I think that's always a good thing. I think it's a good thing. So I love it.
It's going to be classic pretty soon, dude. I mean,
I
want to double check my facts here, but what are we at now? When did the first? Is it 20 years? Is it 19 years since Eccleston?
2005.
2005. 20th anniversary.
It was around May 24th, 2005. It did air over. Later in the slightly later in the year, might be March.
26th of March 2005. Doctor Who returned to television.
When did that season end?
I don't know. 13 weeks later.
All right. Oh, it was back in the day when we had 13 weeks to a season.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is we're old now.
We're old now.
These youngins are gonna see our Who is classic Who pretty soon, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's depressing. At least we had some really. Oh, actually, no, it's not actually that depressing because every season of Who is some bangers and some trash.
Yeah.
Bangers and trash. That's a good. That should be the title of an episode.
Bangers and trash.
Gentlemen, how many?
Is there anything we didn't touch on before we score it?
I don't know.
No, I mean the only thing is, did you actually see anything behind?
I saw,
just one,
super one frame
over her right shoulder, yeah. Just a little darkness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the fact that that'll come back in another 20 years' time could be quite interesting. Or 15. But yeah.
How many people locked in an airlock out of 5 do you give this episode? Oh, 5 for you, 5 for me as well.
4.5.
4.5, which surprisingly was what was shown on the screen was 4 out of 5, 4 out of a maximum of 6 people in an airlock.
Look,
that was such a great touch. Oh God, oh boy.
It was.
Yeah. So now the question is, was there a second creature?
I mean, there's so many questions. Was it the exact same creature? The doctor seemed to think it was.
Yeah.
Did it get out or not? Like, are there more of them? Like, 400,000 years is a long time to evolve, man.
So
like
it's 500,000.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it 4 or 5?
It was 500. It was 500. 500,000 years. Good times. How many? So we gave 5s. You gave 4.5. And gents, I am now fully excited for this, for the rest of the season. Surprisingly, after
500,000.
Okay, that's what I said. See, I was right. After the first episode, the Robot Revolution, I was thinking, all right, I don't know if this is going to make it, guys. But these last 2 episodes have built very nicely to this latest episode. Now I'm genuinely intrigued about this season mystery. How is, what happened to Earth? How are we going to get back to it? I think it actually gives an interesting kind of, I don't want to call it MacGuffin, but it gives an interesting hook as to why the Doctor is traveling through time right now. It's like when you play a Metroidvania game or a Metroid game, you lose everything at the very beginning of the game and you have to scour and find around. That's what this is happening. It's like, okay, they found a way now to show the Doctor hopping around because he legitimately cannot get to Belinda's actual time because, as we know, as something happens,
doesn't realize that it's gone. He doesn't. I mean, this thing is a little bit. This thing is that he hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
And for the Doctor, who's normally the smartest, that is the only sort of like moment for me that he should be have figured this out. You know, when you're trying to slam through and break through into a fixed point in time, whatever it is, or if something's time locked, he's been through enough of this.
Definitely.
You know, there's something shady's going on.
Yeah.
But he hasn't communicated any of that, and there's not been. It seems like, you know, oh look, here's my guitar-shaped thing that I stick into the ground, and but there's still, he still seems to be more like, oh, doo-dee-doo, there's a planet of the robots, and they're all in cells. Oh look, there's a Cuphead, and oh, it's a well, and yeah, he doesn't seem himself at times.
I almost wonder if he therapied too hard in the other direction.
Maybe
overcompensated for 13,000 or 1,300 years.
Too complacent. I mean, let's face it. Donna's fish casserole can do that to people.
Yeah. There was always, I think it was the Doctor's Wife, the episode where they said, I didn't always take you where you wanted to go, but I took you where you needed to go. And so I always go back to that quote. It is one of my favorite quotes of all Doctor Who. And I keep thinking of that as he's landing now, because he thinks he's going where he can to pick up his readings and stuff. Supposedly, he's not out there to do any Belinda Chandra adventures. He just wants to get her home. But in my head, I'm like, it's got to be both. In my head canon, the TARDIS, he's going where he wants to go to get his readings. But guess what? These people need his help.
Well, this also isn't this isn't the TARDIS we know and love. It's a different version of the TARDIS. It's one that was his prize from defeating the Toy Master, where he hit it with a big hammer and out it came. So the OG TARDIS is the one that Tennant's in. And then there was this other TARDIS that also had Sutekh sitting on it for some reason. And Sutekh transferred over other 2 Sutekhs. I mean, this is the problem, Russell.
Right, don't go back down that rabbit hole. We talked about that last year.
Talked
about that last year.
I've given myself an embolism.
Well, hopefully we'll find out more. you never know.
It's funny. I really, really want this momentum to continue. I really, really want to like back up and up to where we used to love it on the weekly, as opposed to hoping for the best. But man, I'm gonna be pissed if we wind up getting that and we got an amazing run here, and then it's like, all right, well now we don't know the future of the show, so bye until whenever. And we'll be like, God damn it, no! So I hope those rumors are not true. I really, really, really hope.
We don't need a Curse of Fenric Mark II.
No, there's a lot of smoke right now. It's a lot of smoke to indicate a fire. So, and they're being really, really strange about it. Really strange.
Where there's smoke, there's Daleks, as they say.
We haven't had any of the classics.
He hasn't fought a single classic. Not one.
I'm okay with it. Give us something
new.
One. Well, I was going to give us something new, and then maybe bring the classic in for a one or for an episode here.
But I mean, it does give credence to the fact that this is a version of the Doctor that's not in its regular universe.
Yeah, that could be.
While Blue Yonder. Yeah. Did the Doctor make it out of the giggle? I mean, by generation, is that really a thing?
Yep. Stuff is not right.
You make a good point.
We've gone back to Tennant. We've had the universe sort of get murderized, and nobody's talking about it. So there's been a lot of stuff. The flux. Yeah. There's been a lot of things happening that
stupid flux. Stupid flux.
That whole era needs to be retconned, which again sucks for Jodie Whittaker, but it wasn't her fault, and it wasn't the actor's fault. It was just Chibbles.
Yeah.
But we've said this before, but I mean, hey, what happens if we regenerate into Matt Smith?
Oh goodness, that'd be incredible.
Well, I mean, they've got to do something. Because I mean, let's face it, the biggest views they've had is when Tennant reappeared. And so is it time to start replaying some of the greatest hits for, I mean, and I think we should do, after the season ends, we should probably do a special episode where we could talk about our hopes and dreams. But I'm not adverse to having some classic Doctors having their own specials.
Yeah.
So 3 specials a year, handled by different showrunners, maybe based off Big Finish stuff, and that's expanded. And just because it would be great. I mean, an Eccleston version of Who, where he doesn't have to work with Russell T Davies.
Yeah,
that would be quite interesting. Or a David Tennant one where he works with Moffat, or a Shooty one where he works with somebody else, or poor Jodie gets to come back and doesn't have to work with Chris Chibnall, because Chris Chibnall just cannot go. No. But I mean that could be interesting. Three, spring, summer, winter, and maybe a Christmas
fun way to do
or a year. Wouldn't that be wonderful? 90 minutes ones, big events, and if they've not got enough to keep a season going, it would be the same manpower as their fucking their 8 episode 1 hour longs. So. Just more quality and quality than quantity. It's like Saturday Night Live. You watch SNL when they write three shows in a row. By the time you get the third show is crap. When they have a week off, they come back refreshed, and it's better.
Yeah. Gents.
Sorry, I was
it was a good.
No, it was a great episode.
So much take in.
Well, it is too, but we were also talking on the side. I know we're trying to wrap here, but we were talking on the side about how, like, what the hell's going on with Disney? And I'm over here on my iPad, as I sometimes am. Actually, I never am. It's just because I need it tomorrow. But I'm looking through the Disney app. Now everybody's raving about this episode. Highly rated, talked about everywhere. And there is nothing. There is nothing on the top fold where 90% of your app users are probably going to go. Nothing about Doctor Who. It's down here in action and adventure, but I don't know if that's curated for me or not. But what the flying front door is going on here?
New releases. In last week's episode didn't even drop in the new releases.
Yeah.
No, it's featured but you have to click on Disney, and then it's featured right next to Pets. And before Mustafa the Lion King,
which just doesn't make any sense. I mean,
but I just don't. I don't know why.
Like Doctor Who or Marvel, you should like Doctor Who, and that's what
it should be right up here in the top.
Should be.
You know, we talked. I mean, I told you yesterday or the other day that the Hallmark the Christmas decorations.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, it's bar.
Every year for the last 5 or 6 years. Nothing.
That bummed me out more than I thought it would. After you texted
Yeah.
me, I thought about that later, and I was like, "Yeah, that actually does bum me out more."
Thankfully, it's, even though I lost all of them in the fire, I've managed to pick up all but one of them again. So I've got them sitting here ready for a Christmas tree that I don't own yet. So they will have their time, which is going to be great. But yeah, maybe it's time that the BBC partners with Netflix.
Yeah, maybe get back to
I mean, partner with somebody, do what you got to do to get the funds to need this thing to keep it on, keep it going. I mean, there's just as this week shows again. There's when it is good, it is great, and when it is great, it is some of the best things, best shows on TV, and that's saying a lot in the era of prestige television right now, with Andor and all these other Last of Us and all these other Black Mirror and all these other shows we're watching. It's just like, anyway, I hope the rumors aren't true, but it's deeply disappointing that this. I mean, it wasn't that long ago we were all raving about Disney and the possibilities and the sky is the limit, and now it's like it's not prominent anywhere on the app, and there's all these talks that Disney's like, well, sorry, we're out, 2 years, no more. Like, it sucks. It just sucks. But this episode was great.
This episode's great.
Was real good. It is real good. And
I'm gonna let's rate the rest of the side talk on this episode. I'm gonna give it 0 out of 5 people trapped in them. Gents, great episode. Great chatting with you. I look forward to the next time we get to chat about Doctor Who, which will be probably in a couple weeks here. I think we got some vacation.
How long are you away for, Sean?
Well, you could do it without me. I'll just
I'll
remote in. I won't be able to watch.
Where are you going, and how long are you away for?
I'm going away for what would be. I will miss the next 2 episodes of Doctor Who. So
you have a lot of watching to catch.
I will have a lot of watching to do. If the Wi-Fi works on the ship that I will be on, then
you're going on a ship.
I'm going on a ship. Yeah.
Look at you!
Yeah, going to the cradle of one of the cradles of civilization and science and intellect, Athens.
But you already live in Jersey.
What?
But you already live in Jersey.
There you go.
Yeah, the modern mecca of science and innovation, New Jersey. No, my wife and I are going over to Athens. She studied abroad there a long time ago. I've never been, so we're gonna be over there for a week, and then we'll be on a ship going around the Mediterranean Sea and the Athens or the Greek peninsula. It'll be really nice. But unfortunately, I will be delayed on the Who. So
it's fine. It's fine. It'll be your.
I don't want to hold up you Time Lords. You got things to do. You should record the show.
We'll go into. Here's what we're gonna do.
Get like a standee, like an AI version of me. Yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into. We're gonna get into the TARDIS here shortly. We're gonna go into the future to the time when you've come back and watch the episodes.
All right,
and then we will record. On that note. Thank you again, gentlemen. We'll see you on the next episode of The Lonely TARDIS.
Whenever that may be.
No time travel.